All right. Well, it is 10 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 9 in California, where Art is at. And then you can do the math, figure out the rest of them. We were just saying earlier, we don't want to, we're tired of doing math for students to tell them what time zone they're in. But if you're on here, you know we're about to start the program. I'm Jamie Cash. I am with Kaplan, and I have been in the real estate industry for about 12 years now, 11, 12 years. And I've been with Kaplan for 4. I manage the community program with Kaplan, so the community forum that we do here, and which we'll talk about later. But this morning I am hosting this program with Art Venezuela, and he is our industry expert this morning. So this morning we're going to talk about AI, which is artificial intelligence. As you know, it's dominated the conversations for the past year, especially when it comes to real estate. So we're going to talk about some cutting edge tools that are available to you right now, as well as what can be done with the tools that you have available to you. The tools are constantly changing every day. So after hearing this, you might even develop some of your own ideas of how to use AI in your business. And if you do, please go ahead and share those in our community. I'll post some links here in just a minute as to how you can get into the community. If you're a Kaplan student, you can go in and access it through your learning management system, either through your interactive study group course or your career mentor course, and you can continue the conversation there. If you're not a Kaplan student, you can always go in and register and then be a part of that community. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you, Art. Art, I'll read your bio for you really quickly. He's been a licensed real estate professional since 1999. Over that time, Art has led brokerages with staffs from about 25 to over 450 agents. That sounds like a headache and a half, but 450 agents, that's a lot. Art has a passion for helping others succeed through coaching, training, and mentoring. He's been an instructor with Kaplan Real Estate Education since 2002 and a lead instructor for California since 2010. Art has taught in-person classes back in the day when we used to do that, and also live online courses. He's been heavily involved in our product development and student relations as a content expert, and has earned his CDEI, which is Certified Distance Education Instructor. So we have quite the expert with us today. Thank you, Art, for joining us.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm excited to be here and just not listen to my own bio. That's the key. Never believe your own bio.
There you go. There you go.
Don't get too excited about your own bio. It just means I've been doing this stuff for a long time. That's all.
Yes, you have, and you're well qualified. So one of the questions a lot of people are curious about, not only what AI is out there, but do you think it'll replace real estate agents?
Yeah, that's definitely the number one question on everybody's mind, and probably in everything. No matter what they do, is it going to replace me? Is AI going to replace me?
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting term. First of all, artificial intelligence. I thought that's pretty much how I've operated my whole life, is artificially. But no, it's it just kind of pretended to be intelligent. We saw a great example of that. Anybody that followed the Hollywood writer strike, and then the subsequent or simultaneous strike just took a little longer to settle for the Screen Actors Guild. And that was a big sticking point, was AI, and how is it going to affect their industry, and how is it going to affect them? And they were willing to be replaced. They didn't want to be replaced without compensation. And so I think the simple answer is no. I don't believe that AI is ever going to replace real estate agents, ever. There'll always be a need for professionals, but your role is going to change. Our role is going to change, and how we do business is going to change. What we do in this business is going to change, because as we've learned, especially the last couple of decades, our consumers are way more smarter than they've ever been. Why? Because they have access to more information than they've ever had access to before. So as consumers learn how to utilize AI to their benefit, Well, how much, you know, we have to figure out how to differentiate ourselves, how to stay ahead, keep staying one step ahead of consumers, so that they still feel a need for us. And they're, you know, they'll, I think for most, we talk, you know, in prepping for this, you think of other industries, the travel industry,
Right.
right? Remember the travel industry?
Mm-hmm.
And when everything got online and everybody could Expedia and all, you know, all the different ones that came out at the very beginning,
Right.
and how travel agents disappeared. But now you start to see them come back again. You start to see them come back. Why? Because they figure out how to leverage it. They figure out how to leverage technology. They figured out how to go, okay, you're not going to pay more by using me. You're going to pay the same as if it's just you're going to spend more time trying to figure out where to go, how to go, you know,
Yeah.
what airlines, what hotels to stay at, what resorts. I could do all that for you, and you pay the exact same amount you would if you were doing it on your own.
Right.
Right.
Less
And
headache.
so,
Less headache.
yeah,
How much do you want to
exactly.
pay for your headache?
And so consumers can do this, but how much headaches do they want? Don't they want
Mhm.
us to be the ones to guide them so that they can focus on what they do? And our lives become way more easier because we have technology that it's right at our fingertips now that can provide information really, really quick.
Right.
Really, really quick. I mean, in a few minutes as we go through this, I want to show you guys. I just put in a few questions in ChatGPT, just a few questions to see, just so we could show that. And it still blows me. I use it almost every single day, but it still blows me away when I do it. So,
Yes. Yes.
anyways, no, we will
I'm
not
gonna
replace real estate agents. We just have to reinvent ourselves always.
Yes, 100%. And that's something that is always a thing that no matter what industry you're in, you're constantly reinventing yourself to keep up with the new technology and what's out there. I'm going to launch a poll really quick just so we have an idea of who our audience is. Let me launch this and go ahead and answer the poll question in the poll. You don't have to answer it in the chat, but just let us know if you're a current student, if you've been in the industry 1 to 5 years, 5 to 10, over 10, or if you're just thinking about getting into the industry. There's always those looky-loos out there that come and join us, and we're super excited to have them and help them understand what Kaplan's about and what things that we can provide you. So come on in and answer that poll. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds.
I was trying
There's
to
still
click on the 10 plus, 10 plus, but then I read in red letters, host and panelists can't. So.
you can't vote. We know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this poll. 3, 2, 1. All right, let me share the results so you guys can take a look. We have about 45% today joining us that are currently students enrolled in Kaplan. Thanks for choosing the best pre-licensing courses out there. We've got 1 to 5 years, about 16%, 6%, 5 to 10, 25% over 10 years, which is amazing. So thank you guys for coming and learning about AI and how to use it in your business. And then and 8% that are thinking about joining the industry. So welcome to all of you. I'll stop sharing this so we can see all of Art. But thank you guys for joining us today. I hope this information that you get from Art is helpful and can be something that you use in your business. Speaking of using in their business, how can they tailor, property recommendations or insights for potential buyers? How can they use AI to help them do those kinds of things?
Yeah, and that's really where you're going to want to utilize this kind of stuff. Utilize this technology is in figuring out how to best serve a client. Keeping it individualized as much as possible. Now, in your marketing and the things that you would do to attract business, to attract buyers and sellers, there's going to be some general stuff, right? I put in this morning, whatever, give me 5 video content ideas for buyers looking in Southern California or in my market, right? And it gave me some ideas. Now from that, I can dig a little deeper. Right. So that's some general stuff. But as you start to get people that you're working with and finding out their needs, it's really easy to ask any AI platform or most of the AI platforms what what kind of homes or what kind of survey can we put together for a home buyer looking in La Habra, California,
Right.
in the 800 to 1.2 million dollar range? Get
Right.
very specific, right? And then it'll spit out within a few seconds, it'll spit out an entire guide on exactly what to do. Now you have information in front of you that you can utilize in many different ways,
Right.
right? You can put it together as a put it, brand it, and of course, make it your own. Always make
Yeah.
it your own. The thing about AI, the thing about any of these platforms, Epic, ChatGPT, Bard, any of these platforms that are out there right now, they are good, they're useful, but you still want to make it you.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
don't want
Yeah.
that voice to become you. You still want your voice. You don't want your voice to get lost, right? So you
Right.
take that information and you adjust it. You customize it for yourself, and then you could share it as an actual guide. Or when you're talking to them, when you're having a what I call a home buyers consultation. As a quick sidebar, everybody has listing presentations. Everybody does listing presentations because that's what we were trained to do. Nobody meets with buyers and has a home buyers consultation and does a presentation for them. They just say, you got to get approved. Then we'll go start showing you properties in the areas. Well, if you had a presentation that can be generated from AI, AI can help you generate a presentation with an entire guide, step by step, what the process is going to look like for that buyer. How much more professional are you going to look in front of those buyers at that time, specifically tailored to them?
Yes, and to get more information on what Art is talking about, he does also, he's one of the instructors for our Real Estate Accelerator program. So that's another course that you guys can take with Kaplan, and we kind of go through the nuts and bolts of starting your business. And he talks about creating, your listing presentations as well as these buyer meetings ahead of time. So that might be another thing that you guys a sidebar that you guys can take away from this. But those are all good points. I mean, you have to be able to use AI to your advantage. But like you said, when we talked earlier, he brought up the point that, we can't always just trust AI with whatever it spits out at us. We also have to verify that it's correct.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing with AI right now, and in technology in general, is
Mhm.
how much do we trust it? We used an example earlier about your blind spot detector on your car.
Yeah.
Do you trust it 100%, or do you still kind of look to make sure? You kind of use it as an indicator, be safe, but then you're still kind of making that quick glance to make sure that the coast is clear so that you can change lanes or whatever you're going to do, right? Um, and so this is going to be the same thing with AI. You don't want to trust it completely. I
Right.
think you want to put in the effort to make it yours, to make sure it's correct. How about that? Because it could
Okay.
spit out wrong. It might spit out information that's not correct. And you being in the industry, you being in the front lines, you being in the market that you're in, you're going to know if it's generic, it just got pulled out from something else, or is it specific to your market? And you don't want to just regurgitate something that it spits out without you checking it first.
Right. Right. How do you think, once they're out in the industry or are currently in the industry, how can AI help them with like admin tasks and like freeing up some of that time to help
Yeah.
them focus on the strategy of their business? Because I know we can all get lost in the weeds of like doing things to be busy, but how can they use those AI tools to kind of help some of those admin tasks so that
You
they can
mentioned you
actually
mentioned my
do the
bio,
work?
running teams of 25 to 450 people, and how
Yeah.
fun that must have been for me with those large teams. And that really is a big thing that we as sales managers, VPs, brokers, managing brokers, whatever title they are, they're in charge of that office. They're in charge of making sure that those agents are being productive. And when people are taking away from productive time from other agents, brand new agents will come in. They don't want to bother the sales manager. They don't want to bother the people that are being paid to be bothered, by the way.
Right.
They want to bother the independent contractor that only gets paid if they close the deal, and to get help with something like doing a CMA, doing a comparative market analysis, or doing a listing presentation, which is okay because we've always promoted in offices I ran. We've promoted being collaborative and helpful.
Sure,
But,
sure.
but at the end of the day, we want everybody to be as productive as they can. So from that side of things, I'm super excited of what AI has been able to do for agents. Is they can go in and put together things, because we've in our offices have created systems that says, like, if you go into the platform, into the back office, and you click on this will show you how to do this. And we did it all through AI. We generated all this information through AI so that agents can post their bio, put together a CMA, put together a listing presentation, put together a buyer's presentation, all from our back office. Okay, so that they just have to go in and click, and most of the work is done for them already. They just have to, again, customize it, put in their I call it flavor, because we're all individuals. We all have our unique. We're all unique. We're all different in different ways. So put in what you like and what makes you different, right? And so, for me, that's a huge time saver.
Yeah.
Huge time saver.
And what AI tools are you using to do that? Like Chat GPT to help write
Yeah,
content?
so Epic is
Or
one of my favorite ones.
Epic. I'll put that in
Which
the
is a EPIQ. It looks like Epic. I say Epic because I don't know. I think that's how it's
Did I
said.
spell that right? EPIQUE?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. Bard, BARD. There's others in Chat GPT though. In my office, I have access to the upgraded Chat GPT. In my home laptop, I just use the free version. So it just depends what I'm doing and where I'm at. But yeah, and writing, having, I asked it the other day, give me 5 email responses. Give me 5 email responses for buyers that were looking, that showed interest in homes in La Habra, but then disappeared on me. They disappeared on me, and it gave me 5 responses that then I customized. I changed up. I put a little art in there, and implemented that into my follow-up campaigns. Right, because there's the Epic has a great 12-touch follow-up, because most agents quit following up after 1 or 2 tries in terms of getting some type of lead to come in.
Sure.
And then they'll reply once or twice and then go, okay, they're not interested. That's a bogus lead. Well, the money is really in the 8th to 12th follow-up, which most of us won't do. Number one, because we're nervous about it. We don't want to be that person. But number two, we have content. What are we going to say every time? Well, if you have content, then it's easy to follow up 12 times. Then you just got to get over I don't want to be that person. Well, do you want to be broke, or do you want to make money? That's really what it boils down to. Well, we want to be that person, and then just have the right content to follow up with.
Yeah. We have a comment in there in the chat about Rex had posted it. He says that we're starting to use AI to do our sales calls. We have multiple recordings of doing live role plays with the AI bot. It's unreal. And then he put his email in there. So that's just another way that people in the industry are using AI, and different ways to kind of think about using it and how could I use it in my business? Well, there's a few examples right there. So thank you, Rex, for sharing that.
I like how he said it's unreal.
Yeah, it really is unreal.
I know I don't think he meant it that way, but it's amazing how you can free up a coach's time, a manager's time to do
your own time,
productive things. So, and if you could use AI to role play, and check your responses, because that's really those sales meetings. When you're practicing, that's where the key is, right? Doing that over and over and over again, saying those repetitive things, but in a natural way. So
yeah. He said he said that they tried to stump it for 10 minutes and they couldn't do it.
Yeah, and not everybody shows up.
Yeah.
So if there's a program where you can go in pretty much at your leisure how much better is that than, I can't make it from 8:30 a.m. to 9, so now I have to wait till tomorrow. Now you
Right.
don't. Now you don't.
Yeah.
You just go into the AI platform, role play with AI George or Georgette.
Exactly.
It's a little creepy, but I think it's beneficial.
Nice. What about some insights? What can you share with our audience about into the future of real estate and AI and how to
Yeah.
stay ahead of the curve?
Here's the thing. I want to circle back a little bit and just talk about fear a little bit, because I think there's always fear of the unknown.
Mhm.
There's always
Totally.
fear of what's this going to do? Should I and in this case, AI is going to probably affect, not probably, it's going to affect the world. It really will. It'll affect the world. I don't care what industry you're in. AI is going to have an impact in your life
Yep.
somehow, some way. Um, but I think, number one, I think back to, I got into business. Fax machines are already fully operational, fully acceptable to send an offer via fax, so that it was signed in person, but the signed version came of fax, so it wasn't the original wet signature. But it became perfectly acceptable to do that. And in my area in San Diego at the time, I would say 35% of the industry resisted that technology. They
Mhm.
didn't want, I would say, fax me an offer. They say, well, can I present it to your seller? And I had to make a choice all the time for those that resisted. Do I let them present to my seller, or do I insist that they send a fax? Because of their fear, of
Sure.
not being able to get that personal touch, not being able to get to speak to the seller directly, depending on technology to do their work for them. Um,
Mhm.
but eventually that faded away. Eventually that became less and less and less, and then pretty soon nobody was doing the in-person pitches anymore, offer presentations. But that I can't imagine those that resisted survived long
Right, right.
in the
And that's
business.
kind of what we're saying here today too, is you can sit there and resist all you want and think, "Oh, this is scary. This isn't real. This is too artificial." But you do need to adapt with the times. And that's one thing about real estate is it's constantly evolving. And if you don't take the classes to learn about what the new technology is, you're going to kind of get lost in the dust.
Yeah, and then think of that next phase, that big change of the internet and putting that MLS out there for the world to have access to.
Right.
When we were the gatekeepers, we had the keys. As real estate professionals, we were the only ones that could get MLS, multiple listing service access, and then we put it out there for everybody to have. And that was game changing mentally for a lot
Mhm.
of agents. It was, in their mind, that was the end of their business. That was the end of their world. It
Yeah.
didn't end up being. Well, we're just at the surface of AI, just
Yep.
at the surface.
Yep.
I can, and I talked about this even 4 or 5 years ago, but it's coming to fruition where a buyer can get as much information they need to, so much so they have the right equipment, the technology's there. They could input a home, can find a home that they're looking for, search for a home, push a button, get a holograph photo of that image out in their living room where they're sitting, and take a tour right from their living room of that home.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. But I mean, we say that like it's, the Jetsons didn't come real. You know what I mean? Like all these things that we were like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea are happening. So it's just stuff to think about, keep in your mind. But we had
Yeah.
a couple questions. What is a good AI that will enable agents to do a home search on their website? And then another one was, do you think that AI will replace the MLS?
Try Epic. Try Epic. Epic has a lot, and there's some others. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Right. WRITE is another one, and Valpel. Those are the three that my office is using a lot, um, for everything, for pretty much
Okay.
everything, anything related to real estate. Um, but check it out, and embedding home searches. And most of your associations, guys, most of your associations are already implementing AI. into their technology. So when they use the when they're using the exchange, which allows us to put the MLS onto our websites, onto different platforms externally, they're already using the AI for that. And so there's extra tools, extra features, things like that that your buyers will already have access to just by being a part of the association.
Perfect.
Will it really replace MLS? That's a deep question for me. Because I think 2024 is pivotal in many aspects coming up. 2024 is going to be a mind-blowing year for a lot of people. I think the landscape of the National Association of Realtors, I think the landscape of the MLS, I think it's going to be changing, and it's in our hands to change it for the better at this point for the first time, because the gates have kind of been broken now into a little bit in terms of what's expected of an association like NAR, like the National Association of Realtors, what the expectation is. Now we can formulate, because these MLSs, these associations, they're just for-profit companies. I don't want to be too cynical, but that's what they are. They're just for-profit companies. We have the ability in the industry, as leaders, as an agent, whatever part you're in, you have the ability to have a voice and say how you want to restructure this over the next year or two. And do we have to have, do we really need to have an MLS locally? In my area, as a broker, I've had as many as 40 different associations I've had to be a member of to accommodate the agents that were in my office. I had to pay 40 different fees in order to accommodate every single agent in my office. Some of those associations charge $2,000 a year, $3,000 a year, $4,000 a year. They're not cheap. Right. And so, and some of them are within other areas. So I think AI should replace MLS. That's my feeling. That's how I feel about it. And it probably will. I think the MLS is going to completely change over the next year or two. All that's going to change for the better, because again, all we have to do as real estate agents is stay one step ahead. Stay one step ahead. I like describing it when I'm coaching, when I'm teaching, it's always about being the conduit. I'm known, I don't think I purposefully started out this way, but as that became something I noticed, I wanted to be that go-to person. Oh, ask Art, he'll know. Ask Art, he'll know. Now, sometimes it bites me.
Hey.
Because I don't know.
But you'll find out.
I learned I don't know everything.
Find out.
But I'll find out for you. But you want to be, that's what you want to be. That's what you really want to develop. No matter what the technology, no matter what the climate, no matter what's going on, you want to be that go-to person. So if you're that go-to person, that means you're staying ahead of the game. You're staying one step ahead. And whether it's true or not, as long as it's perceived to be, you're going to be good, right? And just be learning. That's the key.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, we have a couple more minutes and we've got to wrap it up. So I just want you to kind of, there's been a question about if you could rename the AI tools that you mentioned. If you spell them, I'll put them in the chat. I know Bard was one of them.
B-A-R-D. Epic. You got that one, I think. E-P-I-Q.
Don't quote my spelling on that one.
E-P-I-Q-U-E. Epic.
Okay.
Right.
R-I-G-H-T.
I think it's right. W-R-I-T. I think it's Right Homes or Right Homes. I think it's Right Homes. If you Google it, it'll come up.
Okay.
Right Homes. And Valpal.
V-A-L-P-A-L.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a property description AI tool, so it's a real powerful tool that we've been using.
And then Bruce had a question about we're already behind as an industry. How will we honestly be able to catch up? And I don't know that any industry is really like ahead of the curve with AI since it's new and changing. But I get what Bruce is saying. How do you think real estate will catch up? And I feel like real estate can always kind of take a little bit longer to catch on to things. So
yeah, I think as far as AI is concerned, if you start it now, you're still ground level. You're good. Don't feel like you're behind. It is moving at Mach speed. Whatever's faster than Mach is probably that too. Mach 2, I don't know. It is moving very quickly. But I think if people are getting started now over the next 2-3 years and stay on top of it, they'll be grateful that they started now. Just don't get any further behind. If you wait till 2024, 2025, it's going to be tough to catch up, but everybody is going to have to jump in wherever they're going to need to jump in at the time.
Exactly.
Right. But probably in whatever they're doing, the experience will translate over to real estate in terms of using the technology. So just start to play with it. Just start to ask it things. Ask it how to cook what should you serve for Thanksgiving to people who are always critical of your cooking. See what it says.
It does give you lots of information. Some advice you don't always want to hear, but this has been great. There's always going to be more that we could talk about. This is only 30 minutes and it goes by so fast. So again, if you guys want to continue the conversation, please do so in our community. We would love to hear any ideas you guys have, things that you're using. Feel free to share any of that in the community. Jenna put the community link back up there, so please use that. This recording will be sent out in a week from today, give or take with the holiday. And it'll also get posted on the community. So if you didn't see it in your email, it'll be in the community as a recording there. So thank you guys so much today. Thank you, Art, for all of your information and for wrapping our brains around AI and just getting us thinking as like how we should be using it, how we can use it. And then I want you guys to also just give us some feedback, what you thought about not only the webinar, but whatever else you can think of to use AI with and how to help you in your business. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was such a great presentation. Thank you, Art. And we will see you at our next session in December.
Have a good one, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity, Jamie. It's been fun.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Art.